Hi, my name is Alan Cochran. This is a presentation about a recent exploratory study that I did at The Ohio State University for my Design 787 class under the instruction of Professor Paul Neely. Let me first begin by going over the presentation format. This is just the areas we're going to look at in the presentation. First, I'll introduce you to the area that I'm interested in talking about. This will give you a research overview and question overview for where I'm at with my current interests. Next, I'll be looking at the community that I'm interested in talking to. Third, we'll look at the participants for this particular study. Then the data collection method that I used in this exploratory study. And last, how the data was analyzed. Following that will be the future study and the next steps where I plan to go with these interests, what I've learned. So these 6 areas represent this presentation, just in brief. First, my area of interest. It's comprised of 3 different parts: my research question, a research map, and then the keywords. First, the research questions. My research questions is actually 4 different parts. Part 1 is, how do differently sized design groups within an academic organization function externally to other offices and to the public? Question 2, how do differently sized design groups within an academic organization function internally and manage workflow in terms of project management and creative management? Question number 3, how can these groups become collectively aware of their own situations so that they better understand the external and internal organization more completely? And question 4, through a collective understanding of their situation, how can differently sized design groups within an academic organization provide more comprehensive services to themselves and their target audiences? From these 4 questions, we can pull out some key areas highlighted here in orange. So question 1 and question 2 kind of are combined. They give an overview of the entire university. So question 1 is mostly how offices function towards each other, towards the university as a whole, and outwards towards the public. Question number 2 is how do these offices function internally? How do in-house design offices at OSU work internally, as in how do they manage work? How do they manage staff? How are projects how do projects come in? How are they output? That sort of thing. Number 3 sort of takes that information where I want to make takes that information from questions 1 and 2, and it's really what I want to tell the participants back. I want to tell them this information that I've learned so that they sort of understand the full scope of what's happening at OSU, so that they can gain a better understanding. And then question 4 is through this better understanding, can they provide a more comprehensive service? Can they direct where they go in a different capacity so that they better understand how to provide this service? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals thesis. We can also take these questions and look at them in the capacity of a map, sort of where I'm headed, a process map. So it starts with a list of questions. Originally, these questions were flanked on either side by 2 areas of interest, if you will, that I thought might be important to this research. After consideration and discussion with my committee, this may be more appropriately done as 3 overlapping areas that sort of my questions follow. So each one of these areas would represent a separate theme that comes out of the research and then is talked about throughout the research as things that the participants bring up or determine is important on their own. The first part of this, questions 1 and 2, are best described as an OSU community and situation profile. They are the who, what, where, and when of OSU in-house design. What's happening, what's the full scope of services, who does what, when is it done. All those questions will be answered in this first cycle. In the second cycle, this is where question 3 becomes important. I want to tell this information back to the participants. And this is where things begin to overlap a little bit, because I also think in this cycle down there where it says 1, 2, 3, and 4, that I can do a comparative analysis of what I found at OSU to what for-profit designers are doing outside of OSU, and look at the two, maybe can bring some insights back into the nonprofit world of OSU design. Question 3 then overlaps into this opportunity to identify issues, where through the understanding that the in-house designers at OSU can gain, they can begin to sort of identify what's important out of these issues and what they might want to change themselves. And from there, then this last cycle, which I'm calling a collective synthesis, is where they may be able to change their future, or as a group co-create their future and provide the service in a better way. So I've identified this as 4 separate cycles. Cycle 1 would be the community and situation profile. Cycle 2 would be the collective understanding and the look into the professional world. Cycle 3 would be this opportunity to identify the issues, and cycle 4 would be the collective synthesis at the end. It's important to note, as I sort of was talking about this, that these don't exactly follow along with my research questions. My research questions are more overlapped within this area. To do some secondary research on this and really drive my interest with this community in terms of how to talk to them, there are several keywords that I think will be important going forward. These keywords are design team, collaboration, management in terms of management of projects and the creative management of staff, design process, participatory inquiry, as in how co-creation and action research, AR stands for action research, will be important going forward, and technology. These 6 words will really drive my research. I think it's important to note here, creative management is not how to manage people creatively. It is how to manage creativity, manage ideas creatively, basically managing design work. Participatory inquiry will be very important going forward. Much of my research will be done in a qualitative fashion. Action research is a cyclical approach to research that I think will be important to this. It is the impact of one research facilitator on a community of people in order to produce very real change within that community. The idea behind action research is that it is specific to one group of people and not generalizable to a whole group of people, and that it has a great deal of transferability. So as of this point, my research questions are focused as an academic institution. I plan on focusing at OSU, but of course academic institutions will be able to use what happens in this research in their own institutions.